All right, here she is.
Yeah, I'll get a picture of that too.
Yeah, pretty cool.
The wheel's no good. That wheel right there,
Oh,
those are a special wheel they made back in for Fords.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, there's bee's nest. I should probably kill him. All right. Okay, I'll turn the flashlight on there. There you go. So here's the underside of that motor. And I'm not sure, that one's pretty rusty. These ones back here look all right. It's pretty stuck. So no telling if I'll be able to get it unfroze. First thing I noticed is the pan was off this when I bought it. So just like this. There's probably a reason the pan is out from under it. I don't know if it locked up or scrubbed a babbitt. I do not see any shims here. No shims there. No shims on any of them. There's shims there. So it's possible it's developed a knock and they were going to pull the pan to, you know, take a shim out or something, and there was no shims to take out. So I'm sure there's a reason that this is in the shape it's in. But I mean, I'm going to try to get it broke loose. I don't know if I'll be able to, but I'll try to get it. Right now it's locked up. So we'll see. We'll see in here in a minute. I'm going to start taking some stuff off of it and get it more down to, you know, more of a Model A air compressor instead of all the funky stuff that people have put on it over the years. Those wooden blocks, safety. That was safe. That was a good, whoever did that, that was smart of them to put those giant wooden blocks. Oh, well, I guess they did bolt the wood block down. Jeez. That will be going. I'll be getting some proper U-bolts in there, and I'll be probably fabricating once, if I ever get it running, I'll fabricate a new tongue for it. So that's probably what they have those blocks there, is to raise it up. But anyways, now you can see inside the Model A motor. See the camshaft right there, the fiber gear, and that tube oils. There's a pan here, a tray, and that just puts oil back into it. So anyways, that's that, and we'll pick back up here in a little bit. All right, so I tried getting these bolts out to get this stupid brace out of here. Someone made, I'm assuming it was probably, the lower radiator hose was definitely a Chevy. And the way this bolts up, I'm pretty sure it had like a Chevy or something or, you know, at one time a radiator hook to it. So I get all that stuff ripped off here and just kind of clean it up while I got some time, and while I'm excited to work on it. So I tried getting these out with a wrench, and they're so rusted on the bottom side, I'm just gonna have to cut them off with the grinder. And while I have the grinder, I probably won't waste my time on those ones either. So in a minute, we'll get back with this. Okay, so here she is. Doesn't look like much, and that's, well, it's because it isn't much. I got it hung up there by the crane to, you know, so you guys can kind of see it, see what it looks like. It's this is a company called Gordon Smith out of Kentucky, I believe, made these. And they took old Ford Model A engines and they made a head that would use a Model A engine, and it was a kit. You could put this, you could either buy them as a kit or the company made them. This one was a kit. This was, Gordon Smith did not make this one, but this is very similar to the style that they had. I might see if I can, I don't know yet if I can put pictures in with my video, but if I can, I'll show a picture of the ad. And pretty much the kit included a head, a governor, and I think an air tank, because most of them had an air tank. This one has a different air tank on it, but came with leaf springs and these brackets, which you can see here, right there. So this one I'm sure some farmer put together because the tongue and everything on it, the wood blocks, but it's pretty neat. The way it works is the governor controls the throttle linkage on the carburetor, and then this is an unloader valve, and this is bent, but this would go to this, and this would throttle it down. So when the governor would keep the engine at a certain idle as it's building air, at a certain RPM as it's building air, but once it got up to whatever the unloader valve is set at, probably 80 pounds, it would kick this linkage and would throttle it back down to an idle. So, which is kind of neat. So, kind of rare. Like I said, this isn't much. The engine, who knows if I'll even get anything with it, but it definitely has the Gordon Smith. I don't know who actually made. I have to see if I can clean that up real quick, but definitely probably some farmer put this together, but it's a Gordon Smith kit, which is kind of cool. Okay, so like I said, I took a wire, or was going to take a wire wheel to it, so I did. Pierce Governor Company, Anderson, Indiana, USA. So that's pretty cool. I have owned this for probably almost a year now, between 6 months and a year. It's been sitting at the guy's house. I'd never picked it up. I traded him. He got the better end of the deal, but I had two Model A motors sitting in my garage, so I only needed one. So I traded him a rebuilt Model A motor that was sleeved back to standard and had new Babbitt in it for this. And honestly, like I said, he got the better end of the deal financially, but I have been wanting one of these and was looking for one for a while, and I had two motors, so I was happy. He was happy, so worked out well. Anyway, so being that I had 6 months to acquire parts for this, I have acquired most of the parts, at least to put it back together. Maybe not to get it fully running, but I got a hood, which is an early 28 hood, and I got a radiator and radiator shell, which this one does have a bad spot in it right there. But for what it is, I think it'll be fine. And I have another gas tank. This one doesn't have any holes that I can see, but it's pretty dirty and rusty inside. So I'll give this to my grandpa, and he can clean it up if he wants and sell it, or have a spare. And in one of my Model A boxes here, I got, needs cleaned up, but a gauge cluster that would go here, like that. And fun fact, not that you guys, the car that this came off of used to be green, which is cool. Anyway, so I'll put the ignition switch will go here. On a Model A, that button there on the floor, right there, is how you start them. And it would go here. However, that's really awkward to try to, set the timing and push the button to start it and try to get it running. So I will put a solenoid, and this would be a light that would shine down on your speedometer. Well, I don't have a speedometer because this thing ain't going anywhere. So I'll probably put a momentary push button here. So I'll have a ignition switch on, momentary push button to start it, and your amp meter goes here and your fuel gauge is here. And this, on all the kits from I seen Gordon Smith, this would just stay empty. So that's probably what I'll do. And then I'll hook the choke lever up here, and yeah, probably something like that. But anyway, so I got a couple of parts for it, like I said, and probably honestly that are probably a bit too nice for this thing, but extra gas caps. This is an original one here. I think I have a chrome one in here too, a radiator cap. Yeah, right there. So I got some nice parts to put on it, new spark plugs, and today I'll see if I can get the plug wires out. And I'm worried about these. This is where the air filters go, and a little bit concerned that maybe the farmer that had this probably didn't run it with air filters, and I'm wondering if at one time these are just finger tight to keep dirt and rain out of it, and that's why the motor's locked up. Maybe it wicked, water wicked down the threads and into the cylinders. So won't really know till I look into it, but that's it so far. So hopefully next time you see this, I'll at least have it, it won't be running, but I'll at least have it together so it looks more like a Model A and not just Model A parts. So should be fun. My goal with this is to get it running and to be able to tow it behind my Model A pickup, take it to car shows or whatever and have fun with it. And, that's just kind of my goal with it. And, I have enough projects right now that this is going to be kind of on the back burner. But like I said, today I'll have some fun with it. Another thing, side note, is it's got a Model B head. Model A's had 4 bolts. The Model B's had 3. That's the shorter style. And it's got a 4-blade fan. Model A's came out with 2-blade fans that I was told actually move more air than a 4-blade. So I don't know for a fact, but I wonder if this was a 4-blade fan because the idea of it being stationary, to move air. So like I said, the motor is locked up. What's moving there is the pulley, not the engine, not the crankshaft. And it is a Model A engine, not a Model B engine, because it's got right here running down, which is the oil return tube. Model B's did not have that. So at first I saw that head and I thought, oh my gosh, is this a Model B engine? Because they're a pressurized oil system, unlike Model A, which is pretty much just a splash oil system. But it's not. So anyways, okay, I will pick back up here as progress. Right there. That's kind of cool. Patented Gordon Smith and Company. Bowling Green, Kentucky, I think. Serial number 4306. So that's the first thing I've ever seen on this that said Gordon Smith on it. I mean, I knew that's what the head was, but that's kind of cool. If the ones that were made by Gordon Smith as a full unit that used the Model A cowl and hood, on the hood itself, it would have a Gordon Smith and Company tag on them, but the kits did not have that. So, and even if this was, which it's not, but was made by Gordon Smith, the whole thing, the hood's obviously long gone. So, but anyways, that was cool. That's cool. Got one wheel off, some penetrating oil and impact. Now let's try this one. This one might be a little bit harder. I sprayed it with penetrating oil already. Might have to use the heat over there. But got some pretty cool wheels I'm going to put on it, and I'll show you guys here in a minute. Shoot. Well, this was the one I wanted to show you guys. That I thought was kind of cool, but it's got to put air to it and it's got a leak. But I call this one the suction cup tire. Reminds me of octopus suction cups. I think it's just like a snow pattern or snow tread pattern or something like that, but pretty unique and kind of funny looking. But anyways, I'm putting Model A tires on it. These ones hold air. The cracks are for good luck. So I don't think this thing's going down the road anytime soon anyways, but that way I can roll it around. And so anyways, that one's got all the studs and lug nuts on it. You can't tell, it's shady over here, but all the lug nuts are on it, and I never seized them, so I didn't screw the threads up anymore. This one, of course, it's always the last one. It's giving me issues. I got all of them off, except for that one. Even with an impact, I think the stud's spinning in there. So, I'm gonna heat it up with the torch, and see if I can get that to spin off, and that way I can get a tire on it. I do have an extra drum for it, because this one, it doesn't really matter. This one's already missing a stud, so I could torch it off if I had to, but I'd rather try to save it. Just, I don't know why, just because I guess, but this one actually is the one that rolls the easiest. The other one spins kind of stiff. Anyways, I'll update you guys here in a minute. Well, it did it to itself. It wouldn't come off. So, I guess we'll have 3 studs on this one. Anyways, let's see if I can get this hammer and knock it off. I don't think it'll go with a hammer. Oh, look at that. I thought there'd be too much slag on it. Nice. Now get a wire brush on that and get the tire on it. So I was digging through my boxes up here and in the garage. Well, I'm like zoomed way in. And I found a set of bolts for the radiator. So I couldn't remember if I had any or not, but glad I held on to them. I was going through my parts just to see what I had for this. And I did confirm I have a gas tank. I have a brand new rebuilt distributor. I have 2 of them, one for the other motor I have. That someday I'll make a Model A powered logging donkey. But I got a distributor, oil pump, oil pan, like I said, the fuel tank, radiator hoses, random nuts and bolts, another water pump. Oh no, that's a B. So I do not have a, this is the only water pump I have. I have a water pump rebuild kit, but not a B. And I have a brand new, same brand. It's an off brand. It's not a Tillotson or whatever. It's a Zenith. I don't know what this one is, but I have, these are like a common aftermarket carburetor. I have 2 of them. I believe one of them is fully rebuilt. They're both cleaned up, but I think one of them, if I remember right, this is about a year ago I've been collecting this stuff. One of them I think was missing a few parts or needed gaskets. The other one's fully rebuilt and ready to go. So I got a carburetor for it. And I have, oh, where are they? Little suckers? Here they are. In here, been soaking in diesel for who knows how long. Fuel valves, they go right there to replace that one that's froze up. Probably got crap full of rust in it too. I do not have another fuel line here. If this one is rotten, it's hard to say. This one is rotten. It broke when we were trying to load it with the tractor, but it's rotten anyways. So, yeah, I got the tires on, and that looks good. Sets up high. Definitely gonna take those wooden blocks out and get proper U-bolts for it. But getting along. I'll roll it over where I want it. Right now the chain holds that fuel tank back, so I'll get it where I want it and then block it up so it's level, and I'll clean up the radiator bolts, put the radiator bolts on. I don't know if George messed with it or not. These are the rods that hold the hook on here, come over to the radiator. I had 2 of them. I sandblasted both of them, but never painted them. Had them rolling around in my car for the last 3 weeks, and George had bent this to see how strong he was. He didn't know no better. I jumped on him, but he didn't know no better. He just thought it was a piece of metal in the car. But I'm missing the other one, so I hope George didn't lose it. Because they were for this project, so if not, I'll have to try to round one up somewhere. But anyways, that's what's going on so far. One thing I want to note is, like I said earlier, I was afraid of these being finger tight, and I went to grab a wrench on them, and they were pretty much all loose. But it looks a little slimy and oily in there, so I might be all right. Both of them are loose, that one too. And I got the plugs out, pretty dirty and rusty in there. So, but I'll put a bunch of oil in them. And then the distributor, I noticed I have to run the numbers on the block. They're right there. My grandpa has a book on them, so hopefully that tells you the year. I don't think it tells you the month, but it tells you the year of the motor. One thing I'm hoping is that it's a 28 motor, because I have a 1928 pan. They're all the same, except for the oil pan on the 28s has a bolt hole pattern underneath, so you can pull a little access panel and pull the oil pump down if needed. But this distributor, pretty nasty. But if you look, it's red. I believe in 1928, the distributor caps were red. I could be wrong. I know the steering wheels in 28 were red. I'm pretty sure the older motors were red. And then it did, somewhere floating around here on the ground probably, come with one spark plug wire. This is not a wire. They are just pretty much a brass strap. I think I have, I see it over there. I think I have another set. I only need one more. So I'll clean this one up, but that's the spark plug wire right there. Just a piece of brass. Screws on there and just clips on there and just screws onto the top of the spark plug. I do have another set of spark plugs too. I bent this bracket back so I get the radiator on it, and I was right. So this is an air cylinder that will push to pull that, or I should move that, however it works. It would move it that way, which will throttle it down. This is the governor to throttle it up and keep it at steady RPM. This in here, air goes to this and it unloads the cylinder so it's not trying to pump air while idling. And what's missing here will be the unloader valve, and these are pretty easy to buy. I think they're $40, and pretty much all it is when it gets to whatever air pressure, it lets air into this line that shuts everything down, or vice versa, drops below a certain pressure, you know, lets everything kick back on. So that's a simple thing. I bought a few of those. I've made gas air compressor before. It's the same thing that's on. Pretty much both these are the same thing. Let's zoom in right there. There's my finger. There, right there. That is an unloader valve. So that's a same thing. And then on this one, that air line going up to the motor is what throttles the engine down, and what's going over there to the top of the cylinders is exactly what goes over here, and that opens the valves so they're pumping air between the two like this instead of pumping it into here. So it just cycles the air back to one cylinder to the other, and that way the engine is not under load and trying to pump air while it's idling. So that's that. All right, there she is. This is gonna probably be the end of this video. Just got the hood setting on there right now, but the radiator's in, and well, the bolts are in. Nothing's tight, but I got the bolts cleaned up, got the radiator set in there, and then yeah. Anyway, so that's what she'll look like, and kind of neat. So the Gordon Smith. I'm not exactly sure what model this is. I think it's like a model 60 or something like that. Anyways, but here's a Gordon Smith Ford Model A air compressor. Talk to you guys later. Be safe.